Hola, muy buenas. Bienvenido, bienvenida a esta entrevista. Soy Sarjan Suria, presidente de la Asociación Española de Terapia Biodinámica Craneosacral. Y hoy vamos a estar entrevistando a Tanya Desfontaines, que es una de las oradores de nuestro congreso, del octavo Congreso Internacional, que tendrá lugar en Madrid, en San Lorenzo del Escorial, del 24 al 26 de octubre de este año 2025. Tania va a estar compartiendo en el Congreso una conferencia en la cual vamos a explorar cómo la marea media tiene sus orígenes a nivel embrionario y cómo se expresa en ese estado de marea medio los fluidos y los tejidos. Una conferencia muy interesante y espero que disfrutes de esta breve entrevista. Hasta luego. So, welcome everybody. Here we are again with this series of interviews that we're doing to the main speakers of our international congress that we're going to have in Spain from the 24th to 26th of October in Madrid. And today we have with us Tanya Desfontaines that is connecting with us from UK. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah.
Thanks for being here with us. And Tanya has been in this craniosacral world since 2007. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how has been your career, your history around craniosacral biodynamics.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, so I began my working life as a physiotherapist. I trained in London in one of the big teaching hospitals and yeah, was always fascinated really with the body and the workings of the body and had a very good grounding in physical therapy, physiotherapy, for about 15 years, I would say. And how I came into craniosacral work was, uh, I feel like it was waiting for me, actually.
Hmm.
And I became more and more interested in holistic health and uh, studied as a physiotherapist a few things like acupuncture and qigong.
Hmm.
Was working with the staff in the hospital as well as the patients. Um, and then I took a shamanic training. I apprenticed to a teacher
Hmm.
for 5 years, and that really was what gave me the entree into craniosacral biodynamics when I'd completed that training. And it's really the cranial training, I would say, is a perceptual training largely. It teaches us to open our perceptual field and receive information and sense very, very finely. Um, so it was my shamanic teacher who suggested, well, now you finish the apprenticeship, perhaps use what you already have and
Hmm.
build on that and, have a look at cranial work and which I had not really encountered up
Hmm.
to that point. Um, and so I went and did an introductory weekend at Karuna Institute in Devon, where I live, uh, and was mystified what was happening. What was this? Very intrigued, um, and utterly clueless, really.
Hmm.
I applied for and took the foundation training, and that was transformative. It was the thing which my very long-standing friends and family would say that's when we really saw
Hmm.
uh, change in you, and for the good. For I was thriving, and so I feel very fortunate that I went at that time to Karuna and was able to learn directly from Franklin Sills
Mm.
um, and his team there. Um, and after yeah, the 2 year training, it's that was kind of a beginning point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I set up my practice, and I've been in practice ever since. I'm very much a clinician, as I'll also speak about some more later. And so my journey with biodynamics, yeah, kind of came from the meeting, I would say, of that very grounded in the physical therapy, hands on the tissues work, and this bigger awareness of universal forces and a kind of study of presence and awareness. Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Nice.
so yeah, that's kind of how I came into the field, and
Mm.
I haven't really looked back. I've been very much engaged in learning and then teaching. Again, very lucky to be mentored by Franklin
Mm.
as a teacher, became a tutor, and eventually was actually holding the whole foundation training at Karuna up until the pandemic came. And again, there was a change
Mm.
point. So I, yeah,
Wow.
and I'm still learning, very much
Yeah.
still learning. Yeah.
Continuous learning, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Amazing. Wow. I'm very excited to have you with us in this Congress and to observe from you and also give us a little tips and signs for the people that are going to come there. So, what do you think your presentation, what you're going to bring in the Congress, can give us,
Mhm.
will give the people that are there?
Well, I hope it will give the people a really a kind of embodied sense of the forces that I'll be speaking about. I my presentation will be about largely about the mid-tide and um, what we sense in the mid-tide, the forces that are at play there, how they shape and organize form and structure,
Mm.
and how that relates. I'll be referring back very much to the
Mm.
embryological movements and gestures, and how those are still present when we have a hands on somebody and are listening at that mid-tide level. So I'll always refer back to what we actually sense in session work, or when we come
Mm.
into relationship and contact
Mm.
with a living
With the
person's,
other, no? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, with the other,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's very interesting, no? This because some practitioners might think like, oh, mid-tide is not so related with embryology, but it is so
Yes,
related. Yeah.
that's right. Because yeah, I mean the it's perhaps less obvious than if I were to speak about the long tide.
Yeah.
And however, for me, that's I think it was Catherine Euclea, who's another
Yeah.
very senior
Yeah.
UK teacher, who also mentor of mine. She spoke about the mid tide as being like the working tide. This is the place where we
Yes.
interface really with the tissues, with there's something very grounded feeling, like earthy
Mm.
and fluid, and so much information that is available there. It's like a information superhighway,
Yeah.
and so really to kind of open up, help people to open their um, perception and awareness of some of what's happening there in relation to the embryo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine was with us in the last Congress 2 years ago. Very nice.
Great.
She was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
she is. Yeah, she's a very much an inspiration
Yeah.
for
Yes.
me and for
For
us
many. Yes.
in our
Yes.
field. Yeah.
Wow. So interesting. So interesting. Yeah.
Mm.
So, and just to wrap it up and to finish this short interview. So, if you would have like, imagine you have a microphone, no? The whole world is listening to you. So what would you say in few moments, in a few sentences? So what is our therapy about? What is for you this therapy?
Yes. Well, I really thought about this question a lot because I find it uh, very challenging to kind of
Mm,
capture what is the message that I'd want to give. And I think if I really had this microphone to speak to the whole world, I would want to say something about the health being ever present, ever mm, poised um, to shine through
mm,
additionality, the um, things that we come up against
mm,
in terms of living in a physical body. Um, the mm, the mindset that we are in our society um, mm, trained with is very much about looking at the problems or the things that aren't working well. And something I experienced in this work when I trained and I continue to experience is this real turning inside out of that
mm,
mindset. So it's like, yes, and when we look at the vastness of primary respiration, I'd probably want to say something about that, but um, there is so much possibility there, so much support for life and for health, um, that this is the place to pay attention.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's actually such an important shift to do, no? Especially when at the foundation training to see how the practitioner or the student slowly says, "Ah, yeah, it's true." When I not only pay attention to the pain or the tissue that is wrong or
Hmm.
pathology, however you want to call it,
Yes.
but I can open up to that vastness, no, of the wholeness.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Something shifts.
Something really shifts there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's having a sense of that there's a much bigger context of health here and support and yeah, life force and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's puts everything in a different context, a different frame.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
I was mentioning students, but it's also very interesting to observe that when a client realizes that, no, that,
yes,
oh yeah, I don't only have to feel my knee pain in the knee, but I can feel that wholeness and that being in connection with this inner health, right?
yes, yes. Yeah,
Transformative.
that
Yeah.
it really can be life changing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
for a person to experience that.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, and every cell knows the wholeness.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is um, another point, and I
Yeah.
will. Yeah, I think that's a
Nice.
a good
Wow.
message for the world,
Yes.
really.
Yes. Amazing message. Yes.
Yeah,
Very good. Nice, Tanya. Thank you so much for your time.
yeah,
And I'm
pleasure.
really hoping and wanting to be that it's October ready so we can meet and have some time together.
Great.
Great.
Thank you so much. It's been a
Welcome.
pleasure to meet
Thank
you, and I'm looking forward to the Congress very
Yes.
much. Yeah,
See you
yeah.
soon in Spain.
All
Yes.
right. Yeah. See
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Bye.